What's up everyone? I have another 5 of a kind victory for you today, and this time it's on hard mode. I'm quite proud of this one because hard mode, as the name suggests, is pretty difficult. And a lot of the possibilities of 5 of a kinds are limited, so you can just do most of the good ones and not many of the rest. I've been having a lot of fun with hard mode, honestly. I think I'll keep on playing it and hopefully get another 5 of a kind for you in the future, but don't get your hopes up. It's very difficult to get something going in this mode. You can even see that this is from the before the change, where you had 3 options. Now you only have 2 options when you're picking a toy. And I don't know why they changed that. I think 3 toys is fair to have a selection from, because if you get 2 of the worst toys in your selections, you're just screwed to lose twice. There are some very brutal toys that you can find. Thankfully, I think the yo-yo isn't one of them. Like, its effect is that if you end up winning, you just draw instead. It wipes out all your units, but if you have a summon unit like a spider or a sheep or a cricket in the back, maybe you can cheese out a win that way. Usually I don't think it's worth it to go for that. Most of the hard mode games go to the late game anyway, just because you end up losing more than you would usually. So yeah, I'm just being content with drawing here, not squandering my chances at all. And you can see the Ox is going to be my carry for the early game, and I think the Ox is a very good selection for a unit that you want on your team, because I don't know if you will see it here, we didn't, but there are some toys that apply weakness or ring to your team, and it's very nice to have the Ox on just so it can override the negative effect with its melon. And the Ox in general is a very strong unit that you can maybe rely on to carry you for the mid-game. For the toy that I chose here, I chose the Dice Box, I believe it's called. I'm not really familiar with the names of the toys just yet, but I think it's nice. Positioning is... you can position in an optimal way, but if your team happens to be shuffled, it's not usually that fatal. It can even be beneficial for you if your opponent is trying to cheese your positioning with their own positioning. And you can see I even ended up winning because of the positioning mishap that I had. So for that reason I'm kind of tempted to take the Dice Cup once again. And I did end up taking it. This time though, I decided to go for the Shark with the Dice Cup, which isn't a very good combo. If the Shark ends up going on front, it's not going to get any buffs. I'm just crossing my fingers that that doesn't happen. Unfortunately it does, and I end up going up against a Hippo team. I think that was the worst possible positioning that I could have had. I had the Ant up last and the Shark up first, so both of their abilities were just nullified. Thankfully I do have lives to spare from the Ox being so good and carrying me through the mid game, so yeah, I can just rest easy for now. And I'm just building up this big squirrel. You can probably tell which 5 of a kind I'm going to be going for. But you can make Shark work as well with the paper shredder, which you can see I get right here, which makes units that you summon faint instantly. That applies for the units that you get from the shop as well. Like if I were to get the paper shredder and decide to sell my spider in favor of another unit, that unit that I do end up buying will end up fainting as well, which usually would be very bad. But if you have multiple sharks on the team, you can scale them up that way. I was kind of sad that I found it on turn 9. I think I would have rather found it on turn 11, where I have multiple sharks on the team. Because I found it on turn 9, I decided to just scrap the idea of going for 5 sharks and decide on the squirrel instead. I take the scissors here for my toy, which usually are pretty brutal as well. They make your frontline and your backline unit have only 1 HP. Like, it's basically like your opponent having 2 level 3 skunks on their team and just hitting you with both of their abilities, which very unfortunate, but at least the shark kind of circumvents that by building up its HP during the fight, so it's not too harsh. And you can put a weak unit, but you can put a weak unit up at the front. I'm not sure why I can't speak today. So it can take the effect. Like you can see here, I put a weak squirrel for its HP to be set at 1. Sadly it didn't make any difference, I still lost anyway. I got the paper shredder again, but this time I think I should take it. Because not like I'm going to be scaling up the shark that I have on my team, but it's just that I'm not summoning at all, and I don't think for the next 2 turns I'm going to be buying any units. So I'm just very happy with the team that I have, and I'm more than happy to just scale with the seal for the next 2 turns. Scaling up shark could be viable, but I think it's more viable to focus on the squirrels, just because in the late game I'm going to be selling both the seal and the shark, so the buffs will have gone to waste. So yeah, focusing on the squirrels. And at this point I have very very few things to say. It's just the standard procedure, going for a multiple squirrel scaling with the seal. I would have loved to include this squirrel on the team as well, but I can't do it on this turn because of the paper shredder. Plus it's kind of risky to do that, replacing an 18-18 unit that is going to grow in battle with a 3-6. Kind of suspicious play. I don't think it would have mattered here because my opponent ended up being so weak, which I guess is the benefit of being on 1 life and 2 wins on turn 12. I would love to take the paper shredder again here, but I really want to include one of the squirrels in the shop on my team, so yeah, I decided to go for the toy mouse. I think it's called toy mouse, this item instead, which probably one of the best items that you could be hoping for. It spawns 5 4/4 feline units on the enemy team once you wipe them all out. Basically, if you have a 20-20 at the end, you're going to be fine. I think for my team it's going to be more than enough, because you can see here with the amount of stats that I have, I can pretty effortlessly wipe out the enemy. You can see you don't even need a 20-20, as I said. You can even go with what is it? A 5-17, I think, is the least statted unit that you could have that could take out the 5 feline units. Thankfully my 14th position squirrel was strong enough, but you know, I'm not really focusing on the toy. I'm just hoping that I do get through the units at the end with my I dare say decent team. I'm just positioning for the enemy themselves. I don't think it's worth positioning for the toy mouse, is what I'm trying to say. Here I decide that Dice Cup is the best option. Because I'm wide scaling, most of the squirrels are going to have kind of equal stats. Buying from shop losing me gold isn't a good play, especially if I'm going to be buying like 4 free foods every turn. And what was the other one? I think it was the pillbox fainting my frontline unit. All of my 5 units are strong. If I had a weak score, I would probably take the pillbox, but as we discussed before, the dice cup isn't bad as well. It can even save you in some situations. I feel like I'm being matched up against people who are also playing hard mode, because the builds that I'm seeing are pretty monotonous. And also the player pool is quite smaller than I would imagine. Like, I can see people going for mostly food builds, which I think is the way to go for winning in hard mode. You either go for quality units like rooster and leopard, and you just scale them up with monkey or penguin and the like, or you just go full on food build with seals, worms, cats, squirrels and the like. Swans amazing, obviously. But this isn't trying to be a strategy video. I'm just going to focus on this run instead, which is the squirrels. Here I get a brutal choice, and you can see I'm pretty stumped here. I don't know what to pick. Scorpions, I believe, is the worst option, just taking out 2 of my units. Scissors is probably around as bad as well, setting 2 of my units to 1 HP instead of taking them out outright. So I decided that the dodgeball is the best option out of these, which is very sad, because with 3 choices you would expect to be given better options. Like, I would love to get a paper shredder or a dice cup or a toy mouse. Like, everything that I have been taking so far, even rolling losing me gold would be fine, I think. But the dodgeball means that because the CO is the lowest HP unit and it can take both dodgeball hits, that means that I'm only playing with the squirrels. The dodgeball is going to take out the CO at the start of the fight, which means that I'm force squadding with this team. That isn't too horrible, but for squirrels with relatively good stats and melon, they're not guaranteed to take out every enemy team that I do happen to go up against. Especially if I end up going against summons which have deer. I think that deer took out like 3 of my melons, which very unfortunate, but at least I didn't lose. I ended up only drawing, which is kind of scary as well, because if you happen to prolong the game, you'll probably go up against better teams, like units that actually have abilities that trigger during the battle, like leopard and rooster, as we already discussed. Thankfully, I end up going against some mean teams, which I should probably try for a video to do. Going for a hedgehog blowfish. This guy even had whale on the team, which bonus meme points for him. Thankfully, I do end up winning, and I'm trying to figure out what the best option here is. Yo-yo I don't really want to take, because if I end up winning, I'll just end up drawing instead, and as I said, I don't really want to prolong this fight. This run rather, I'd rather win as soon as possible, which is kind of strange to say when I'm already on turn 19. And what was the other one? I think the other one was the I actually just forgot what it was, but it wasn't something I wanted, I believe. I decided to end up going with the rolling losing me gold, because I don't think I'll be rolling all that much. I already have all the units that I need. I even decided to transition into my final squirrel on this turn. So yeah, all that I will need is some equipment to give to the last squirrel, and hopefully some food to be able to buff it. And this should be strong enough, I hope. You can see people are running squirrels, dolphins, not squirrels, excuse me, skunks, dolphins, roosters, which is very scary. But thankfully I do end up winning, because I have so many stats. And at this point I didn't know that to get the hard mode achievement you needed to have a level 2 unit and win. So I would have probably given the level 1.5 score of the chocolate, but I just treated it as an apple. But anyway, this is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, sub, do all the generic stuff, leave a nice comment. I love reading those, and I'll see you next time. Take care.